Most people who find my work ask me one question again and again: why am I chronically ill? And the reason this question is so common is uncomfortable but simple. We reliving in a world that asks our bodies to function in ways they were never designed for. The result? Chronic illness has become normal, especially for women. Between 60 and 75% of Americans now live with at least one chronic disease. Let that sink in. What almost no one talks about is that long before symptoms appear, the birth chart often shows how and why the body begins to break down. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 most common patterns I see over and over again in people dealing with chronic illness, especially the kinds that are hard to diagnose, misunderstood, or dismissed. Conditions like chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, autoimmune disorders, chronic Lyme, chemical sensitivities, mast cell activation syndrome, and more. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Heather Eland. I am a professional astrologer with a Master's degree in clinical psychology and a background in herbalism, mind-body therapies, and holistic health. And chronic illness isn't just something I study, it's something I've lived. Back in 2010, my health started to decline. I was in my early 20s, but I felt like I was living in the body of a 90-year-old. Within a few years, I was so sick that even basic tasks like doing the dishes felt overwhelming. Showing up in the world in a meaningful way felt impossible. Through years of persistence, working with alternative healthcare providers, and learning how to read the guidance embedded in my own birth chart, I was able to turn my health around. That experience is why I'm so passionate about medical astrology, and why I believe it offers insight that most people never receive. Before we go any further, I need to be very clear about something. No single placement in your birth chart will ever make you sick. Your chart doesn't cause illness. What we see instead are patterns. Multiple patterns converging, combined with environmental stressors, life experiences, and specific astrological triggers like transits and progressions. If you recognize yourself in anything I mention, it does not mean you're destined to be ill. And if you're already dealing with chronic illness, these patterns can actually show you where healing becomes possible. Every illness has its own unique astrological signature. Chronic fatigue looks different from Hashimoto's. Fibromyalgia looks different from chronic Lyme, even when they overlap. What I'm sharing today are foundational patterns that appear across many different chronic conditions. Medical astrology is not medical advice. It doesn't diagnose, treat, or cure disease. If you're struggling with your health, please work with a qualified healthcare provider. Now, let's get into it. When I assess charts connected to chronic illness, the first place I look is the sun and the moon. In medical astrology, the moon is the primary significator of the body itself. It governs bodily rhythms, fluids, and overall physical health. This is especially important for people born biologically female, since the moon also rules reproductive hormones. If you were born at night, the moon plays an even stronger role in your health. If you were born during the day, the sun becomes more dominant. The sun represents vitality, your life force, resilience, and ability to recover. What I often see in chronic illness charts is the sun or moon in weakened conditions, fall, or detriment. The sun struggles in Aquarius and Libra. The moon struggles in Capricorn and Scorpio. These placements don't cause illness, but they can reduce resilience, especially when combined with other stressors. Another major indicator is the sun or moon conjunct the south node. The south node drains energy, It weakens whatever it touches. When it's tied to the sun, vitality can feel inconsistent or depleted. When it's tied to the moon, the body itself can be more vulnerable. Emotional health becomes inseparable from physical health in these charts. Saturn is another frequent player. Saturn represents chronicity, things that are slow, heavy, difficult, and long-lasting. When Saturn is tightly connected to the sun, vitality can feel suppressed. When it's connected to the moon, physical health issues may be persistent and difficult to resolve. In fibromyalgia charts specifically, I often see the moon in fire signs or tightly connected to Mars. This led me to research myelination, the protective coating around nerves, because the moon rules myelination in medical astrology. Interestingly, emerging research now suggests fibromyalgia may involve myelination issues in the peripheral nervous system. Astrology didn't replace science here, it pointed me toward it. The second major pattern 1C involves Saturn in an inconjunct or quincunx aspect. This pattern carries a strong psychological component. People with this configuration often grew up too fast, took on too much responsibility early in life, or felt like a burden to their family. As adults, this turns into overfunctioning, carrying everyone else's weight, saying yes when the body is screaming no. Chronic illness often appears when the body finally enforces boundaries the person never could. Healing here starts with boundaries. Your health has to come first, not eventually. Not after everyone else is taken care of, first. The third and most challenging pattern is Mars combined with Neptune, especially through conjunctions, squares, or oppositions. Mars governs the immune system, inflammation, adrenals, cortisol, muscles, and the sympathetic nervous system. Neptune dissolves boundaries. Together, this combination creates confusion in the body's defense systems. I see it constantly in autoimmune conditions, allergies, histamine issues, chronic fatigue syndrome, and post-exertional malaise. The body responds to normal activity as if it's under threat. Psychologically, this often traces back to early environments where anger was unsafe, misdirected, or suppressed. The fight-or-flight system becomes dysregulated. Stress responses turn unpredictable. Mars-Neptune patterns also frequently show addiction themes in family lineages, especially alcoholism. Even when the individual avoids substances entirely, the energetic imprint remains. Healing often involves addressing this lineage pattern consciously. One final bonus pattern to watch is modality. Fixed sign dominance in difficult configurations often correlates with long-lasting or lifelong conditions. Mutable patterns fluctuate. Cardinal patterns tend to be more acute. None of this exists in isolation, but together, these patterns tell a story. If any of this resonates with you, know this. Having these patterns does not mean you are broken. It means your body is communicating something very specific. And when you learn how to listen, everything can change.